The first time I used a light box in my work was in, I think it was '87. It was part of a documentation of a lighting work that I did, a kind of an illumination work where I lit up a small copse of trees on the American Academy in Rome, on the property of the American Academy in Rome. I had done a series of lighting pieces. It was part of a series of lighting pieces where I illuminated nature at night with artificial lights. And it seemed to me, at that time, it was an exhibition with my friends Ian Wallace and Jeff Wall and Ken Lum. And Jeff had already been working with backlit transparencies. The second work I did was it was called Can of Worms. It's in the exhibition here. It's kind of a supplement to a large color photograph called Fishing on the Jetty, a two-part color photograph, a diptych. It's this can of worms that appears in the photograph, and I made a small light box. And then when I started pursuing this sort of self-portraiture series that's well represented in the exhibition here, obviously, I decided to kind of continue using light box. I just found it, I was interested in the kind of more spectacular effect of a light box as opposed to a large photograph. Actually, I think it was in the most recent Tintin film. There's a scene where a character is hiding behind a newspaper and peering through it. Also, I was thinking of Picasso's use of newspapers in his collage work and some of the very beautiful drawings that he did, I guess around 1912, around that time. With newspapers, and also the kind of masks, the kind of African masks influence on Picasso. The newspaper kind of forms a kind of strange mask with a kind of the fold almost suggests a kind of like a nose or something, and of course the eye holes. And again, the newspaper is kind of absurdly out of time. If you look carefully, you see it's a 19th century newspaper from Victoria in British Columbia.
Yeah, 1878.
Dated 1878. So clearly it's kind of fake. I didn't want to use a contemporary newspaper. At one point I was going to, then I thought, it's so specific. I guess I have a sort of aversion to using absolutely contemporaneous references in my work. I didn't want it to be topical, so I thought I'd go the other way completely by having an absurd newspaper that looks like maybe a spy's prop. Maybe he was issued this fake newspaper. It was a spy who was issued this, for the purposes.
So Rodney, I find this world of the lighthouse keeper very fascinating. It's a world that doesn't exist anymore. His job is being replaced by machines. How did you come up with this idea?
I think it was from this book that I'm actually reading in the picture. Well, I was thinking about lighthouse keepers, and then I actually saw this picture. You can only see a fragment of in this book, which shows a lighthouse keeper. I think he's reading in a small room, very similar to the one you're seeing. I wanted to make a film about the attempted frustrated artistic pursuits of a lighthouse keeper character. Like it was going to be a comic film, and then I decided to make it as a light box when I came up with the idea of just having the lighthouse keeper work on a model of a lighthouse. And I had, in fact, seen a few photographs of lighthouse keepers who made lighthouse models, and I was interested in the kind of tautological humor of that situation.